Welcome to Creamer Media's Resources Watch, a weekly video roundup of the events and people making and shaping the news in the mining industry. This week, Vanadium Jr. has expansive plans for long-life operation and is mulling JSE listing. New public-private rail corridor agreement already boding well. And SRK celebrating 50 years of consulting to natural resource sector. JSE Mulling Jr. Vanadium Resources is thinking expansively in line with the potentially very long life mine that it is setting out to develop in South Africa's expansive Bushveld complex.
The demand in terms of vanadium pentoxide equivalent, so that lots of companies use different measures, but we use vanadium pentoxide equivalent because we'll be producing that. It sits at about 200,000 tonnes per annum at the moment, and that's from a mix of primary and secondary sources of vanadium. So we'll be in the primary category. And by about 2033, analysts are forecasting that will grow to about 300,000 tonnes per annum of vanadium pentoxide equivalent. So from our perspective, our operations are planning to be in production by the end of 2026, early 2027. So we'll be well placed to meet that growth in vanadium demand from our VRFBs in the future.
The 3-month-old mutual cooperation agreement that the private sector-owned Richards Bay coal terminal signed with State Rail Enterprise Transnet in November is already boding well.
I think it's important for me to just highlight a few issues and items around what is going on at the moment now in our partnership with Transnet. We really have been experiencing over the last few months with this acting executive a very strong engagement platform. We've actually worked together in collaborations to actually improve this value chain. We actually have signed the mutual cooperation agreement. It allows Transnet and RBCT to explore opportunities for joint investments in assets and infrastructure to support the coal industry in the North Corridor. Between November 23 and to date, this initiative has allowed us to actually deliver the procurement of the locomotive space in the form of batteries and compressors. The orders were made in December, and we have a delivery time, a project plan that we're managing jointly with Transnet. We're looking at the independent infrastructure assessment for the corridor by jointly by Transnet and RBCT. And I must just note that we actually experienced a very consistent delivery by Transnet Freight Rail on the corridor on volumes of over 1 million per week. Some of the strong initiatives we have jointly is the security improvement plan, and this includes joint funding on a 24/7 basis between the industry via the RBCT as well as the Rapid Railway Police and Transnet.
The 50 years of experience that SRK Consulting has accumulated since coming into existence in 1974 has placed it in an excellent position to outline how mining's approach to environmental sustainability and responsible sourcing has evolved over the past 50 years.
We've gone from looking for sort of engineered solutions to looking to source locally and to increase economic activity and skill levels in host communities. And I think then that's branched out to, it's quite branched out, but it certainly started to include, measures of responsible sourcing. So we're now looking to see, well, firstly, are minerals responsibly sourced? In other words, are human rights respected, and are operations safe and well managed environmentally and socially? But part of that is then also the supply chains. So we've now added in the challenge of how do we produce more in local communities, and how do they be bigger partakers of the or bigger participants in mining operations, to also how do we ensure that that's also done responsibly. So there's a sort of an auditing function that's required, and where are materials sourced, where is energy sourced, where is labor sourced, how is it treated, or how are people treated, how is the environment treated by your suppliers. So it's become a really complex business. But I guess the the positive is really that it's become one that we can be a lot more proud of.
For mining news as it breaks, stay logged on to miningweekly.com and register for our free daily newsletter.